Start by touching the horse with your hand between the clipper and the animal so the horse knows clipping is to begin. After determining he is receptive, begin at the shoulder and clip upwards into the hair growth pattern. Use an overlapping stroke. Keep the blade flat against the skin. If the teeth point down into the coat, you could nick the skin. If the teeth are pointing up, the hair will not be cut to the desired length. The technique of moving or slipping the skin with your empty hand can help make bony areas and loose skin spots easier to work on. The techniques and safety suggestions mentioned apply throughout. Here Dana is using the Andis AGC Super 2-Speed with the T84 blade. The AGC Super 2-Speed is quiet and lightweight. It makes full body clips as easy as cleanup trims. The T84 blade makes clipping fast and easy without leaving streaks or lines. Next, Dana will use the Super AGR Plus rechargeable clipper. The Super AGR Plus has the power of a corded clipper but offers the freedom of clipping without a cord. Touch your horse first before you resume clipping. This will help give him a clue where you will be working. Keep his head straight with your empty hand and continue clipping into the growth pattern. Throughout the body, the hair changes its growth direction. You will notice this as you clip toward the mane. Continue to take an overlapping stroke and follow the natural flow of the hair growth pattern. Your empty hand is an important tool. You can steady the head when you are working near or on it, as well as use your fingers to separate the body hair from the mane hair. Clip down and away from the mane. Keep the blade flat on the skin when you change the cutting direction or angle. Remove only the body hair. If you accidentally get too close and catch the mane, take your next swipe farther away from the mane. Don't try to even it up. It is better a little grows back instead of a lot. To get that crisp, finished look, use the 2 or 3 outside teeth of the T84 blade and run a clean, natural line following along, next to, or slightly below the mane. Hold his head steady with your empty hand and take your time for the best result. The Super AGR Plus can be converted to a corded unit. Remove the battery by pressing the long black button located just below the switch. Insert the cord pack into the clipper so that the side with the thick raised line is facing upward. Regardless of your clipper choice, stay organized by finishing one area before moving on to the next. Continue to work your way back through the body. Cut the front part of the barrel, the back side of the shoulder, and the girth region. Ask your horse to stand square or with the leg closest to you positioned slightly forward for better access to these areas. The Progress is one of the Andis Company's large animal clippers. It's lightweight and durable with a slim grip for better control and less fatigue to the user. As always, touch the horse first, then continue to clip. Continue to use an overlapping stroke, clipping into the hair growth pattern. Notice the hair being clipped is the same length as that of the T84 blade which was used previously. Although preferences are changing to the lighter Andis AGC type of clippers, most of the techniques shown will apply to larger clippers as well. Ideally, your horse should be as clean as possible before beginning to clip. A good grooming, a bath, or being vacuumed is not always realistic. The Progress clipper is a good choice when you need a machine that will clip through dirt and grime. The red knob on the clipper adjusts the blade tension. When you notice the blades are leaving hair, adjust the tension by turning the knob 1/2 of a rotation at a time. Along with oiling frequently, this will help prolong the life of your blade. Switching to the AGR Plus with cord pack, Dana continues clipping the barrel. A lot of people like using a small clipper because they weigh less and are easier to maneuver and control. They are also quieter and have less vibration than larger machines. Just as when being used with the battery, the Super AGR Plus with the cord pack handles full-body clips with ease and efficiency. It's not uncommon to see horses with saddle pad areas unclipped. The back can be sensitive to work on. Make sure the blade is flat against the skin and remove the hair up to the backbone. The barrel is the largest and flattest surface to clip. Don't be tempted to rush by taking strokes that are too long. Let the clipper glide through the hair using an 8 to 10 inch stroke, overlapping as you go. Large areas can be overwhelming. A shortened stroke reduces the work area and allows you to pay better attention to detail. Many people believe the clipper or the blade is responsible for lines and blotches. However, in most cases, it's the user. Lines and blotches are actually a result of hair that hasn't been removed. Using even pressure, an overlapping stroke, and changing the cutting angle are all useful in preventing lines and blotches. Moving on, we will now be working through an area where the hair growth frequently changes direction. The loin and flank of a horse are like a major interchange on the highway. Notice how the cutting direction changes. Instead of clipping directly into the growth pattern, you may find running your clipper at a slight angle to the growth pattern will help remove the hair from these somewhat complicated areas more smoothly. For areas that you will have to reach up to work on, a step ladder will give you better access and a better view. When it comes to clipping across the backbone or spine, be careful to keep the blade flat. Horses' backs are sensitive, and it's common for the animal to sink or become concave. This reaction is different than flinching. Here's a little trick. Try scratching your horse's belly when you clip across his spine. The reverse works well when working on the belly. Notice the curving motion being used to clip the hair. This swirling growth pattern is commonly found where different parts of the body join together. Think of the letter M or a heart shape. Use the same motion it takes to make the tops of these shapes when clipping an area like this one. Clip from both sides instead of straight down and across the concave area. The result will be a smooth finish because the full surface of the blade is in full contact with the animal. Switch to the low speed of the Andis AGC Super 2 speed when clipping the bottom of this area and other thin-skinned or sensitive spots. Use your empty hand to stretch the loose skin taut. Take your time and follow the growth pattern. Pay attention to your horse's position. Remember to keep the leg closest to you half a step back if possible. Your body position is equally important. Try to keep your working surface in front of you. Dana is positioned here so she has a better view of the area being clipped. Notice the cowlick. The hair changes direction in a full 360-degree pattern. Stretch the loose skin and continue clipping near your empty hand. This is a naturally twitchy area, and your empty hand will help desensitize it. Also, try rolling or slipping the skin to create a larger, safer surface to work on. This is known to be a difficult spot. Keep the blade flat on the skin and follow the growth pattern. Make sure your blade is cool. Take your time and be patient. Consider that your horse may be as nervous as you are. The two of you will be surprised at how easy this can be. Before resuming work on the hindquarters, take time to oil the blades. Break your horse into sections, such as the neck and shoulders, the barrel, the loin and flank, or use a timer set for 15 to 20 minutes to remind yourself to oil your blades. Regular oiling keeps the blade at comfortable temperature for the animal, prolongs the life of the blade, and also allows you time to stand up and stretch. Your horse should stand square with his weight equally distributed on both feet when clipping the tops and sides of the hindquarters. With your empty arm draped across the hind end, you are able to read and correct weight shifting. Use your empty hand again when it comes to working on sunken or concave areas. Stretch the skin and slightly press into the muscle in front of where you are working to tighten and raise the clipping surface. The most common way to finish the hindquarters is by leaving a triangle of hair just above the tail. Use a bar of soap to mark this and other patterns on the hair as a guide before you clip. Start 3 or 4 inches above the tail and draw a line to each corner of the tail from the center of the spine. Some people wrap the tail to protect the tail hair from being accidentally clipped. If you choose not to, keep the tail hair out of the way with your empty hand. Make sure your horse's head is in a straight line with his body and his back feet are even, so the triangle ends up pointing correctly toward the center. Horses in general are not usually comfortable with someone standing directly behind them. It may help to have a friend steady the animal's head while you are working on the triangle. The end result will be an evenly centered triangle with clean, crisp lines. You might have a better view by using a stepladder to see and reach the top of the hind quarter. Hold the tail out of the way as you remove the hair from the buttock. Stand close to your horse to minimize potential injury if he were to kick. You can quickly pull his weight back onto a lifted foot if you already have hold of his tail. This is a good view of the blade being kept flat against the skin. Also notice how the blade is being kept in contact with the skin, even on the return or recoil side of the stroke. This clipping technique helps reduce the skin twitching that some horses display. Twitching the skin is a natural response to unwanted contact. Remember the tip from earlier when the horse's stomach was scratched to raise his back? The reverse works equally well. Scratch the top side of the back to lower the barrel of a horse that does not like having the underside of his belly worked on. Continue working along, clipping the horse's stomach. Clip toward the front legs. Work from the midpoint of the stomach underneath of the horse out and up to the previously cut barrel area. Doing this will blend the stomach and the barrel area seamlessly together. Continue clipping behind the front leg following the hair's growth pattern. Work from the clipped barrel area down behind the leg and into the stomach. Stretch the skin to create a firm surface or to have better access to places like the backside of the elbow. It's easy to nick these loose-skinned areas. It may also be helpful to step the front leg forward or slightly wider than normal to open this spot up. Stretching the skin as you walk your finger through a loose area is another way to create a better clipping surface. Here Dana is using the Lightspeed clipper to tidy up the intersection of the leg, barrel, and stomach. The Andis Lightspeed is the industry's first illuminating animal clipper. The convenient light option makes clipping in poorly lit barns no longer a problem. The ultra-bright LEDs are long-lasting and stay cool. They're a popular choice among professionals for more precise clipping. This is the Pro Pet Clipper, a quiet, single-speed detachable blade clipper. It's great for cleanup trims including mane roaching and leg work. Not everyone has the need to body clip their horse, but to many, a neat appearance is still important. One of the commonly trimmed places is the lower legs. You can clean a leg up by clipping with the pattern of growth to remove longer hair and leave a blended look. Remove the hair from the coronary band by clipping up the hoof to the hairline. This will help prevent hoof treatments from being sucked up into and staining the hair. Thin out the hair on the pastern by clipping downward or with the hair growth pattern. Use the same technique on the back of the tendon to remove unwanted feathers. The grooming process is a lot easier on a leg with less hair. This is the Andis model AGCL Lightspeed clipper. It is ideal for clipping in low light areas. Leg position is important. Step the opposite leg half a step forward for safer access and a better view. It's also important to be patient and pay attention while working on any of the legs. Stretch the loose skin and continue to use an overlapping stroke to remove the hair from the inside of the forearm and elbow. As you work your way down the leg, you will quickly become aware how uneven the working surface is. Being aware of the growth pattern and letting the clipper do the work by using a slower, shorter stroke will make this area easier to navigate. Although sometimes it can't be helped, try not to kneel or have your hands on the ground for safety reasons. It is important to have frequent or constant solid contact with both legs so that your horse can tell where you are. Rolling or slipping the skin is helpful when working over the tendons and ligaments. Another method commonly used is to pick up and hold the foot. The softer surface is easier to work on, but sometimes it can be tricky to hold on to the foot if the horse tries to pull away. Notice the position of the leg. Keep the leg 1/2 of a step back to tighten and open up the front of the shoulder, forearm, and chest. The same stance is used when working in the neck and shoulder area. As you work your way down the leg, you will encounter hair frequently changing direction. Make sure to keep the blade flat when changing the cutting angle. The hair on the knee is normally thicker and will come off easier when clipped on the diagonal. For safety reasons, always work on any leg from the side. Never position yourself directly in front of or behind front or back legs. The cannon bone is a narrow, rounded surface. Try clipping it on the diagonal or bias. A lot of people end up with vertical stripes as a result of clipping straight up the shin. This is because of minimal or limited blade contact. It doesn't matter if you work to or from the center of the bone. Clipping on the diagonal allows the hair to feed across the whole blade for full, effective coverage. If you choose to work on the lower leg with the foot off the ground, try to not let go if your horse tries to pull his leg away. This is the easiest way to clip the sides of the lower leg and fetlock, but it may take a couple of seconds for your horse to be comfortable and find his balance. Before beginning a new area, take time to oil the blades as well as stand up and stretch. As we move on to the hind end, notice the stance still applies with the leg closest to you, stepped back. Continue to use the overlapping stroke and stretch the loose skin when necessary. The hock naturally has a lot of nooks and crannies. The bony surface can be sensitive to clip over. This is one of the spots where slowing down and being patient will actually get you done quicker. Try not to cut any of the tail hair by either holding it out of the way or tying it up in a knot. Remember, it's important not to be directly behind the animal. Dana is positioned to have a better view of the area she is clipping. If you choose to work from behind your horse, stand as close as possible and hold the tail to better read and minimize potential injury if your horse were to kick. Again, use the technique of slipping the skin for better access to difficult spots. Remember when clipping the cannon bone to cut on the diagonal. Notice the hair feeding completely across the blade when being used diagonally. This technique affords a smooth, even cut. Take the opportunity to work on the inside of the opposite leg while it's in front of you. Not only do you have an excellent view and great access, it's safer than wrapping yourself around the leg to see what you're doing. The Andis Lightspeed Clipper does a great job of lighting up a normally dark area. The TacMate, an adjustable blade clipper, allows you to have a variety of cutting lengths without changing the blade. It's quiet enough to work on ears and strong enough to roach manes. The TacMate is a popular choice for doing regular cleanup trims. The longer length of the number 10 blade is handy for cleaning up the jawline. Keep the blade flat and clip with the direction of the hair growth for a blended look. Adjust the blade to a shorter length size 15 or even shorter size 30 to work on the bridle path. Separate the hair and start just behind the pole and clip toward the mane. Some paths are just big enough for the bridle. Some are as long as the ear when it's folded back, and for some breeds, make them even longer. Whatever you decide is fine, but make sure to keep the bridle path maintained. The stubble may become uncomfortable for your horse as it grows back in. Here, Dana checks the length of the bridle path to be sure it is the length she wants it to be. This is the D4 rechargeable horse trimmer. Equipped with a size 30 blade, the D4 trimmer provides a close cut for ear and muzzle work. Most horses are naturally protective of their ears. It may be helpful to have someone hold the horse while you work in this area. With a secure hold on the ear, start at the top and clip downward, working your way in from the outside. Carefully trim the edges, remembering that the surface is extremely narrow. When holding the ear, allow your thumbs to act as a guard. With your thumb, you can block falling hair and roll the inside ridge. Your thumb can also protect the base of the ear if the animal raises his head quickly. This is an example of an ear being tunneled. Another popular way to trim the ear is to fold it together and trim off the hair that hangs out. The hair is actually meant to protect the ear from bugs and dirt. Although it is a personal preference, most show horses have their ears tunneled. Begin clipping the head by starting on the cheek panel. Here, Dana is using the Andis Super AGR Plus cordless clipper with T84 blade. A halter with a snap throat latch will allow better access. If your horse is used to being clipped, you may even attach the halter around his neck. All of the techniques discussed earlier will be used to work on the head. A slow, overlapping stroke, slipping the skin, changing the cutting angle, and most of all being patient are all beneficial when clipping the head. The cordless feature of the Andis Super AGR Plus is useful when electrical cords are an issue for a nervous horse or access to an electrical outlet is not possible. Lift the head to stretch out the cowlick-filled area of the throat. As you begin working on the lower front of the face, your horse may begin to sneeze. This could be a result of loose hair falling into the nostril or a tickling sensation from the sinus cavity. Try draping a small clean towel over the halter noseband to reduce this possible reaction. As you approach the eye and whiskers, use your thumb to protect them. The long eye whiskers are used for depth perception and should not be removed. Try using a pivoting stroke to remove the hair from the cheekbone. You may want to braid or use a rubber band to keep the forelock out of the way before working on the top of the face and forehead. Follow the growth pattern as you encounter cowlicks. Slower motions will startle your horse less than moving quickly when working around the eyes, forehead, and ears. Gently slide the eyelid down over the eye to prevent hair from falling into it. Also, by closing the lid, the eye recedes slightly into the socket, and the skin is gently stretched inward to make this spot less concave than normal. When a horse raises his head, it's usually a sign of distrust. A stepladder will bring you up to his level and may remove the predator posture created by reaching up toward them. It's a special gift from the animal that puts his head down to be clipped. As you remove the hair from around the outside of the ear, try laying it back against the body to reduce vibration. Likewise, hold it forward to remove the hair on the backside and behind the ear. Finish clipping the head by removing the whiskers. Turn the clipper over for an even closer cut. The chest is, at best, awkward to clip. Pay special attention to stay to the side. Be extra patient and wait if your horse is moving around. The skin requires frequent stretching and leg placement is equally important. Here Dana is using the Andis Lightspeed Clipper with T84 blade. Something as simple as shaking at a fly can affect the clipping surface of the loose, wrinkled skin area. You may also notice more fatigue than usual on your body due to all the stretching, bending, and twisting required on your part to groom your horse. Just like the rest of the cowlicks, follow and clip into the growth pattern. Finishing this area will complete the grooming of our horse. Hopefully, your clipping will be a little easier with the tips and techniques we've discussed. If you have questions, get in touch with us at the web address provided at the end of this DVD.